Well, welcome to our employer information session for our summer work program. My name is Kelsey Montano. I am joined today by the lovely Gina. Um, we're going to go ahead and walk through a few items relating to the summer work process, some helpful tips and tools to get us through this process as well, and learn a little bit about our initiative in general. So, brief overview here. Who are we? Our our center's program purpose. Gina's here to talk in depth about our employment first philosophy. We'll review our program logistics, learn a little bit about the students that we serve, what you can expect as an employer, and your role as the employer. So a little program purpose for you. So the U of A Sonoran Center, we work with youth with disabilities ages 16 to 22, engage in community-based work experiences to experience real life work activities in an integrated community setting. So we use an employment first approach as we work to get these students appropriate and meaningful work experiences that fit their skill set. Um, Through this process, we do take our time to really learn the individual, their needs, skill set, interests, and fit them with a business that would best support all those factors. So, what is employment first, Miss Gina?
Hello, thank you, Kelsey, and thank you for letting me share the Employment First message with employers and potential employers. So, people ask me all the time what Employment First is, because that's what I do for the Sonoran Center. And click and more stuff will pop up, Loretta. Employment First is it's an interesting thing to explain. It's not a service and it's not a program, it's a philosophy. And it starts with belief. With all of us, employers and community members and professionals, believing that every person is capable of work, no matter what their disability or barriers may be. Every person can be successful in work. And we cling to this belief and promote this belief because it creates possibility for all job seekers, and it creates expectation for all people. People with disabilities, we have the expectation that they go to work the same as we do for all people. And it's the responsibility of everyone in the community to promote this belief, from professionals and advocates in schools and family members and the employment community. So we strive to have everyone embrace this philosophy and promote it through their actions. Part of that means that work is for everyone. All people have talents. Sometimes it's really easy to spot what those talents are, and sometimes it takes a little more effort to uncover what those talents are. But all of us have talents and gifts to share, and everyone can contribute. There are all sorts of folks that can contribute to making your business successful. We just have to think about it maybe a little differently than what we're traditionally used to. And when we put the right supports in place, all people can succeed. So at the bottom of this means we're trying to get to employment. Employment is the outcome that we want for all people. So we want to define what employment means. And employment is meaningful. As Kelsey said, through our summer work program, we strive to find the talents and skills of the young people seeking their summer work experience, and have a really strong match so that the work they do for your business is meaningful for you and adds value to your company, and is meaningful for them in a way that challenges them and helps them to grow their skills. Employment is in the community. Historically, individuals with disabilities have not had opportunities to work alongside the rest of their neighbors in the community. And that's a big part of the Employment First message. When your business hosts a youth for summer work or commits to hiring an employee with a disability, that raises awareness for all of the folks who interact with your business when they see this individual thriving in an employment setting. Employment is also for fair pay, meaning at or above minimum wage, so that individuals are paid wages equivalent to their non-disabled peers. In summer work program, that's something that happens through the program, so your business isn't taking that on. But long term, if you find someone that you want to hire on, we always hope you do. We expect folks to be paid fair wages, just like everyone else. Employment is person-centered so that we are all able to do jobs that we feel good about, that we can contribute to. I know I love the job I get to do every day, and I want that for all people as they find their meaningful career and employment paths. We also believe that employment is a right. People have a right to go to work and contribute to their local communities and economies, and that this expectation is for all people. There are no exceptions. Employment is for everyone. And I think that'll pop up on the slide. Yes, all people. And then we can go to our next slide. So a lot of times employers wonder, what does it mean to be an inclusive employer? And it's really not that complicated. You always want to ensure that your hiring process is accessible, that people can access the materials on your website and access the job descriptions and the application materials. And if someone needs an accommodation through that process, that's an easy thing to work through. And we're always here to support. Inclusive employers focus on what the skills are that are necessary for the job tasks that need to be accomplished. It is very common for job descriptions to list skills and requirements that are unrelated to the tasks that need to be performed. It's very common. Something we see commonly is that a job description may say someone needs to be able to lift a certain amount, even if the position doesn't require that. It's kind of become standard language. So when you're striving to be an inclusive employer, you really want to make sure that the listed skills are actually necessary to accomplish the purpose of that job task. You ensure an inclusive workplace culture, meaning if your teams need training, seek out that training to help everybody understand what it means to be an inclusive coworker. And the Sonoran Center is a resource for all of those types of needs. So if there is extra training or information that you need about how to successfully build an inclusive workplace, reach out to us because we are here for that. Inclusive employers provide reasonable accommodations. All people, all businesses of a certain size are required to provide reasonable accommodations. The key word is reasonable. It's not that a business has to provide every accommodation requested. It needs to be reasonable for that person to successfully complete the job and for the business to be able to meet that accommodation. And again, we're a resource if you have questions. It's helpful when you partner with community resources like what we're doing here through summer work program at the Sonoran Center, or vocational rehabilitation, or any of the workforce development programs across the state. There are a lot of different resources out there, and they can really be of value to you. The next slide's going to talk a little bit more about that. And it's always helpful, and you business owners know this, to track data. You want to track data all the time to make sure that your workforce is working efficiently and successfully and accomplishing the goals. And you also want to know that your workforce is happy. It's important to have a workplace culture where people are satisfied and feel supportive. And if you can track all of those outcomes, and you'll find as you commit to being an inclusive employer, perhaps you already are, but if it's a new initiative for you, those outcomes will increase. And the last bit I'm going to talk about is why would you want to be an inclusive employer? I just explained how to do all of those things. And if you're scratching your head and thinking, well, why would I want to do that? I'm going to give you a few reasons. You expand your candidate pool when you as you become more inclusive, and you open opportunities up to more candidates in your communities. You find people who have different ways of solving problems, and different ways of contributing to team needs, and they can really help. So you're expanding your candidate pool, and ultimately you're going to find qualified candidates from other populations, perhaps people with disabilities that you weren't previously considering, and that diversifies your workforce. And with that diverse workforce, you get different approaches to problems, you get different skills added to teams, and you are able to have more thoughts and talents within your workforce to pull from to get to your successful goals. All of that strengthens your workplace culture. Research shows that diverse teams are stronger teams, and the workplace culture improves. That's why on the last slide we said track your data, because you'll find that to be true. So you have a great opportunity to expand your talent pipeline when you open up the jobs you have to more folks in your community. And it's not just to fill singular job needs, it's looking towards the future and folks who can grow their skills and grow with your business to continue contributing in an increased capacity as they grow and thrive as an employee. Increased community engagement is always a great thing for a business. So when you partner with all those community agencies that can help you fill your workforce needs, it helps you to have more awareness within your communities and your neighborhoods, and it makes your business stronger. So overall, you build a stronger workforce to help you accomplish your goals and meet your business needs. So I will leave you with this. Inclusive hiring strengthens your workforce, improves retention, and positions your business for long-term success. And if you have any questions at all, the Sonoran Center team is here to support and help.
Thank you for that, Gina. And as we continue through the slides, you'll see a lot of these concepts sprinkled in with our program, and how we like to operate our program in general. So, bringing us back into the summer work program. So our program always provides a job coach to work on site with the youth. Unless there's reason or signs of readiness, the students might be fairly independent, and if agreed upon between the job coach, the student, and the employer, the student might be able to gain extra hours. So it's a collaborative approach. We want to make sure the student feels comfortable and safe. We want to make sure the employers have enough work and they feel comfortable with the student left alone on site without a job coach at that time. We do provide check-ins, but again, those are agreed upon terms and very individualized. Um, our team directly oversees the students' responsibilities, so they're assigned work tasks that the employers have identified. Unless other arrangements are made, again, we have some of our businesses that like to take some of the students under their wing if they really have a knack for this and they really get the skill down right away. And, sometimes the students fit the mold and that's great and we want to see that. They might be asked to work in a different part of the store, the business in general. And in that case, there's a separate agreed upon, um, schedule for that student. We do pay the students, so through our partnership through vocational rehabilitation, they are actually our funders, and the money does come from vocational rehabilitation, so the payment does fall under us. Um, like mentioned before, we are paying them at the prevailing wage, so whatever entry level job the student is um, coming into work for, or if it's maybe a level 2, level 3 position within that business that our student is supporting with, we are meeting them and we are paying them at that wage. So that's really exciting, and the students really get a kick out of it. They get to come home at, the end of their experience and show off their paycheck, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, part of that is, we come in and we take some of this extra work off of the employer's hands. So there might be an overwhelming amount of tasks that are, asked of even for the staff that are already currently employed through this business. We come in and take some of that additional stress off. Maybe we weren't able to get to all the stocking items that day. Maybe your business wasn't able to. Um, maybe there are just separate tasks that are kind of really just hard to get into because you have a big customer base or you have a lot of items that you have to work through. We come in and offer extra support so that our students get these job skills, um, and it helps alleviate some of the stress that comes in for the day-to-day staff that are working in the business. So um, it's kind of a blessing in disguise, really. Our students get to come in and learn, staff gets to train them, and we get to help them see through the tasks that run through the rest of the day. Um, a big question that we get is the liability piece. So liability does fall under vocational rehabilitation. Um, we we haven't necessarily ran into this as an issue overall. Our staff work really closely with the students to ensure that these tasks are taken care of. We have a team of highly trained vocational specialists, which are the job coaches, who are able to work with these students and understand any behavioral support needs, any direct support needs that these students might have in place throughout their schedule so that um, there's less risk of any type of incident occurring on site. And it does offer an extra set of eyes so that our staff then are able to see through these task expectations in a safe manner. So a little bit about our students. We serve any student between 16 and 22 with a documented disability. The diagnoses might include autism spectrum disorder, Down syndrome, learning disabilities. Students might have a TBI, traumatic brain injury, deaf or hearing impaired, dyslexia, OCD, and ADHD. So it really is a spectrum. When we talk about autism, we have students who require higher supports. We have students who require lower supports, and that's across the board with any diagnoses. We all learn differently, whether we're neurotypical or neurodivergent. But we really like to see the students come out who wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity like their peers. So we we take extra steps to learn the skills that these students already have and bring light to them. We bring awareness to them. We let the students know that, hey, you do have these skills. And through the increased awareness from not just the youth themselves, but the parents get educated in this, the community gets educated in this, and in return, our employers get educated in this. So overall, it's a really fun experience. Our students bring a really unique set of skills and experiences that are truly unforgettable. So some things to expect through this partnership or through our partnerships. Students are genuinely curious. They come in, most of these students have never worked before. So there might be a lot of questions, which is great. We encourage all the questions. We're here to offer a safe and realistic learning environment. Just because, and I think this is the hard part, is just because a student might be labeled with a disability does not mean that they do not have the same capabilities as you or I. We are all out here again incorporating this employment first philosophy, and we want to make sure that we're fostering a safe and realistic learning environment. Um, so we give the same expectations. The tasks themselves might look different. How a student might get through a four-step task might look very different than what maybe a neurotypical employee might work their way through. It might be in order, it might be out of order, and the goal is to get from start to finish. So we go in and we assess how did they get there? What did their learning style look like? Where are some areas that we can step in and provide additional support? Is there something that we might need to ask staff on-site support with or employers support? So we just ask that it's a collaborative approach. Um, Kind of as I touched on, there are several teaching and learning moments for not just the students, but for us as well. I can't tell you how many times I've gone in on site and thought I had a really great idea and being, curious and creative, and was I wrong? So coming in and knowing that the students also have their, a different view on how they can complete a task, and not all of our insights are true or accurate, and they don't always match up with the students' skill sets in general. So again, that's that creative piece, really figuring out what the student needs to be successful on the job and meet expectations that you as the employer are requesting. Through that, we are asking that we're, going to fade our presence for direct supervision, and we're going to lean on more natural support. So that could be locating a specific staff member on site that is their go-to point of contact, and that's on agreed upon terms. Maybe we're teaching them the natural cues of learning how to read the signs and how to navigate through each aisle, or specific phrases that we're using when we're engaging with community members. Um, so really working on how can I increase the student's level of independence? What does that look like for them? What does that look like for all of us? Um, and through that, again, is a collaborative approach that we're going to ask to just be transparent about. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, great. We found um, an outlet for this student. And in that case, how can we kind of elevate their skill set from that point forward? Many of our students are very dedicated and hardworking individuals. This is, again, most of them, it's their first job. It's really exciting. They're getting a paycheck. They're gaining a sense of accomplishment and purpose, and it shows from the moment they step through those doors on their first day of work. There are some cases where, students maybe aren't at their forever site, and that's okay. That's part of the learning process, and that's how employment happens. I know Loretta, who's on here, shares all the time that her first job was at a ice cream shop, I believe, and that, certainly wasn't her forever job, but it was a good one to have. So making sure that we are providing these opportunities so that they can see, well, this was great, but I don't think I want to do this again. And that's okay. So keeping that in mind, and using the skills that they have to, also educate everyone in the support group that these are also transferable skills. Well, I know I'm going to need to communicate with people in the community, regardless of the path I'm taking towards employment. So let's brush up on those skills. It will vary, from student to student. So we are not perfect, and we can't expect the students to be perfect as well. This is a teaching program. This may be challenging for some of our students, and for others, it might be really easy. Like I said before, some of our students really just get it and they're able to go full speed, and other students need a bit more time to understand what we're asking of them and what it really takes to get up every day, to go to work, to put on your work shirt, get through the door, sign in. Sometimes those processes they take a little bit longer to catch rhythm, and that's okay. Um, we're constantly looking for ways to challenge these students in their learning environments, and scaffolding each approach, which is just breaking down each task so that they understand it clearer. Every student thinks, learns, and moves differently. This is not necessarily, doesn't mean that they're limited to completing the task that you're asking of them. It just means that we might need to get creative in our approach. Um, I know Gina touched on that as well, and I'll probably reemphasize it again over and over again through any partnership that, we would have in any business, even if it's truly a perfect match for the students. We're constantly looking for ways to increase their levels of independence and awareness across the board. So, and if something, doesn't work, then we just ask that we are transparent and talk about what that looks like and where some shifts might need to happen. Um, yeah, we like to group students, no more than 3 students per site, just because it takes away from the individuality of the position itself. And sometimes extra bodies can be hard on job sites. So um, we do understand that. But with that, students will mirror each other. So some of that peer experience and engagement is really helpful. Uh, some of the peer experience we get might have summer work staff in addition to our summer workers coming in, and they're having the opportunity to shadow uh, those staff members as well, which has been a really cool experience to see. Um, yeah, and overall, just more engagement with the community. We have a lot of community members that will come in and ask, like, "Hey, what are these guys doing? I see a name tag on them. Looks like they're from the university. What kind of program is this? Can you tell me more?" So, um, we've had a lot of success in educating others and having a really, I don't know, I guess, great growth through our project over the last several years. So through this, we're just asking that you as employers are holding realistic expectations. If you're unsure what that might look like, then just ask us. But we want to treat our students as you would any other staff member that is working. So how you can help. So engaging, of course, engage with the students. Rapport is key. When I go to work, I want to make sure that I feel comfortable enough talking with my team members. So I'm going out of my way and having a conversation. We're teaching them the same skills as well. When we come into work, we're saying hi, we're greeting. Rapport is key. It's a key component to relationship building. So holding those conversations with students to learn more. And it teaches you how they respond. So staying curious. This is a learning opportunity for most of them involved, and sometimes thinking outside of the box is necessary. Asking questions. Just don't be afraid to ask questions. Our team internally asks questions all the time, and that's part of the process. Everybody's curious. Everybody has different ways of thinking, and uh, together, if we don't ask questions, then we won't learn. So asking questions is strongly encouraged, and not just to us, but asking the students. They're right there beside us in most cases, and I'm sure they would like to be heard and how they like to complete a task or what they want to see out of this job or how they feel. So asking them directly. Um, I reemphasize this, but the communication piece, if something is not working, we're not going to say that this is the right choice, the only choice. There's plenty of room to shift tasks, or maybe one student does really well at a specific task and the next student doesn't, and that's okay. That's part of this exploratory employment opportunity. If you want to see some changes within, from task to task or student to task, then that's not an issue at all. We want to encourage it. But if something isn't working, then we want to hear about it so that we can make a change before, either you as the employer is uncomfortable or the students are, you know, making more work, which we don't want to happen. I think this is, yep. So this is our program in a nutshell. This is my information. If there are any questions, you can reach me by email. Um, and if you have any questions for Gina, we can reach out too. I don't know, Gina, if you want to, we didn't put your email on here as well, but you can always send them my way.
I'm happy to connect with anybody. So if people want my contact information, share it.